Hey, what's up, people? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Desmond Z, if this is the first time that you've ever seen me. And it is the end. It is the end of 2024. We've come to the end of the road. And I'm here today to give you my top 15 books of the year. It was slightly difficult, but not really, because I've said it a million times. This year has really been trash, if we want to speak frankly. If we want to be honest, it's been basura for me as far as reading, but there were some gems throughout the year, and let's talk about them. All right, starting off, let's get it going with Good Dirt. I read this book. I finished it like a few days ago. I talked about it in my last video, but I said I wasn't finished with it, so I'd give y'all a full review. And once I finished, even before I finished, I knew it would go on the top 15. I knew it would be one of my top books of the year. So even though it came at the tail end, hey, it beat the rest of it beat a lot of the other stuff earlier this year. And this book has not been published yet. It doesn't come out until January 28th, 2025, but I got an ARC for it. And I read Charmaine's debut novel, Black Cake, and I have not shut up about that since 2022. If you're not new here, you know I talk about it all the time. I talk about it all the time. And Good Dirt, in this novel, we follow Ebby. She's our central character. She's our anchor. Her family, years ago, because she's like 29 now. Years ago, they had this tragic event happen where there was a home invasion and her brother died. That's not a spoiler. It's mentioned in the synopsis of the book, so you get that right up front. So her brother was killed in a home invasion when she was 10 and he was 15. His name is Baz, or was Baz. And for years, her family has like remained, a topic in this part of the country. They live in New England, Connecticut, Massachusetts, up in that area. So their family has remained like, a topic of conversation for like the surrounding areas. There's always whispers about them. Anytime Ebby's out in public, she can feel people looking at her and talking about her. Oh, that's the girl she was the only one at home when her brother got killed. And they're the only black family in their neighborhood. So on top of being the only black family in their neighborhood, someone in their family gets murdered, and it's like, oh, of course it happens to the black family that lives in this neighborhood, and the crime has never been solved. So it's an enigma for everyone around them. And we begin the book with Ebby also facing a new tragedy, like in the public eye again. And in the center of this is an old jar that's been in their family for years, and this jar is linked to a lot of significant things that have happened to them in their lives. We travel through time from when the jar was first made, like in the 18th or 19th century, and we go from different parts of the world as we travel around with these characters, getting to know them and maybe possibly solve the mystery of what happened to her brother. Overall, I did enjoy the book. I had a really good time with the book. There were moments where I got a little frustrated with all the hopping around we do, but like I said in my last video, with Black Cake, we do the same thing. So you just have to get used to it and just go along for the ride, because the author does, pepper in answers to some of your questions along the way. It's not like you have to wait until the last chapter and then you just get everything revealed to you. Then, answers are peppered in along the way. And I enjoyed it. Overall, yeah, it was a very solid read. I enjoyed it. I think over time, my fondness for the book will grow. Last Couple Standing. This book is about a couple who they want to open their marriage up because all of their friends have gotten divorced and they don't want to have that same fate. So they decide to open their marriage up, but they have to keep this a secret from their children, from their other friends, from the neighbors and all of that. And there's hijinks and there's misunderstandings. All of this is just a bunch of crazy mess is what happens. I actually listened to the audio version of this book, and the narrator does an excellent job of bringing these characters alive. And the comedic timing of her narration was excellent. I thoroughly enjoyed this. I think it also gives you a good look at what it means to open a marriage up, why people do it. Is it for you? Is it not? And yeah, I just this was a very a fun read, but also eye-opening, and I enjoyed this from beginning to end. And I don't really have much else to say about it other than I would recommend this. Also, I would highly recommend listening to the audiobook, like I said. This was definitely a standout for the year, and I think I may reread this. The Knicks. Now, this is actually a controversial, there's controversy for me. Because while I did enjoy this book, I did enjoy the story. This motherfucking book was too long. It did not need. Nathan Hill. 620 some pages. Actually, hold on. Let me be clear. 625 pages. Why? For why? For what? He also wrote this book right here, Wellness, that's still sitting on my shelf. Who knows when I'll get to it? Who knows? How long is this one? Hold on. Wait. Because he don't know how to put the pen down. I've learned that Nathan Hill don't know how to put the pen down. This one is 607. I think these are acknowledgments. Okay, so I'm gonna let him slide. I won't count the acknowledgments. Now we won't count them. But hold on. Oh, hashtag gratitude, not acknowledgments, okay? He said he's different. 597 pages, 525,600 minutes. Like, that's how fucking long it's gonna take you to read the book. Like, okay, but back to the Knicks. I'm sorry, y'all. This book was too long. There was a huge section of this book when I first reviewed it, and I said it wasn't necessary. And I still firmly believe that. I still believe someday you and me will find ourselves in love again. I'm sorry, but I was due for a singing break. Y'all love it. The Knicks. He's a college professor and a star writer. He has a Knicks of his own. His mother, Faye. He hasn't seen her in decades, not since she abandoned the family when he was a boy. Now, out of nowhere, in 2011, she's on TV for throwing a rock or something, assaulting a presidential candidate, okay? And that is our jumping point. That's how we get there. That's how we get this party started, okay? That's how we get it started. And from there, we learned what has transpired in Samuel's life and Faye's life from, her childhood and from his up to now, 2011. And he hasn't seen her in years, right? It's been like over 20 something years since he's seen her when he was a child, okay? She just left. Instead of her pushing him on down the river like Moses, she left. She got up out of there, okay? She did the leaving. I listened to the audiobook of this version of this as well, and that's another reason why I think I really did enjoy it. The audio narrator did such an amazing job. Like, that's why audiobook can make or break. It can make or break a novel. And I think sometimes when I hear people say, oh, I did not enjoy that book at all, I can understand it, yet and still I liked it. Because the narrator does an amazing job of bringing these characters together. The moments that are supposed to be funny, they're funny because of the way he voices the characters. It was top tier. But that still did not save this novel from the fact that it was too long. It did not need to be that long. It did not. I'm sorry. I'll never believe otherwise, and you can't make me, okay? But yeah, that's basically what this book is about. It's this boy, he has mommy issues because she left him over 20 years ago. And when he finally does see her, it's because she's on TV throwing a rock at a presidential candidate. This could be us. I was deciding, it was between This Could Be Us and The Wedding People for a spot on the top 15. I really did enjoy The Wedding People. I've talked about that before. So honorable mention for The Wedding People. That was a good book. I enjoyed it. But This Could Be Us is one of my top 15. And this one focuses on Soledad. Her life explodes when her husband gets arrested and goes to jail because he's been doing dirty shit, okay? He been doing some dirty shit. And once he goes to the clink, she's like, I got 3 kids. I'm gonna stay at home mom. And what am I gonna do? I need cash money, baby. I need cash to take care of these kids. And also, this man that I love, He been lying, he been doing some dirty stuff on the low. So she heartbroken, she just destitute. She's like, what is going on? So she has to rebuild her life while also, you know, staying strong for her chillings. And she also has this budding new romance with another guy who is actually a detective on the case that's being brought against her husband. So it's like there's a conflict of interest there. And he's a single dad who works two jobs, loves the kids and never stops. But you know, hands in the heart of a fighter. Yeah, I really, really did enjoy this. So this could be us. Kennedy Ryan, what more is there to say? Yeah. James. I've spoken about James. I've spoken about old Jamie James multiple times. James, this is by Percival Everett. It's one of the most popular books of this year. It's won a lot of awards, been nominated for a lot of awards, at least I know it's been nominated for a lot of awards, and it's got a lot of critical acclaim, a lot of commercial success. I listened to the audio version of this, because I had got an advanced copy from Libro FM. Shout out to Libro. And I DNF'd it. I actually DNF'd it multiple times. I just could not get into it. Y'all know what happens with me. Sometimes a book that I've DNF'd multiple times, I'll give it one more good, I'll give it the old college try. One more go, and sometimes it just clicks and it works for me. And that's what happened with this one. And I didn't own a physical copy because, you know, I had listened to it a while ago and I enjoyed it, but I didn't have a physical copy. But I recently went and bought one because I wanted it. And let me tell you something. I don't know if this was added to everybody's Christmas list. I don't know if it was just because people had bookish people in their lives and they were like, oh, they like books. This is one of the most popular books according to this list or that list, so let me get it. Because every time I went in the store, I saw the book. I saw it, but I was like, I've read it. I've enjoyed it. I don't need a physical because, you know, I've been on a book buying burn. So I'm like, I don't need to buy the physical. Even though I really wanted to, I was just like, I don't need it. But when I finally decided, you know what, I actually am gonna buy it. What happened? The world just said, oh, fuck it. We finna go and buy every single copy. It ain't gonna be none left. I got it was none in the bookstores. I went to Target, this was the last one left up in there. And it wasn't even in the spot it was supposed to be in. It was way over yonder. Way over yonder. And it's supposed to be sitting right here. It's way over yonder. Please. Sweetness in the Skin. I have talked about this book multiple times this year, I do believe. But Sweetness in the Skin is definitely one of my favorites. And this is about a girl named Pumpkin. She lives in Kingston, Jamaica. Her and her mother have a horrible relationship. Her mother doesn't show her any affection, any love. All her mother wants to do is date and find a man and get some money. So Pumpkin goes to school. Her teachers don't actually care for her. They want to see her fail, even though she's intelligent and she's trying to, you know, get good grades. But one day when her aunt is like, hey, I'm going to Paris, she's like, well, girl, take me with you. I want to go too. I don't want to stay here because, you know, I can't stand my mama. But her aunt is like, well, I can't really afford to take you with me. And plus, you got to have the right paperwork to go. And we just don't have that right now. Okay, we ain't got it, girl. So you're going to have to stay here with your mama and your granny. So she is like, okay, I'm gonna do whatever it takes. I'm gonna go, you know, work, sell some cookies, do something to where I can earn some money and I can move with you. And she's like, I'll get good grades so I can get in on maybe like a scholarship or some foreign exchange, something. She's like, I'm gonna do something. I'm gonna take a French class. She does just that. She's working really hard, trying to find a way to leave and go live with her aunt in Paris. And we follow along on her journey as she encounters hurdles. One of the main ones being the mom that doesn't love her and is like, well, why you want to go stay with her? You think she's better than me? And blase. Everything is always Sophie. What about me? Well, no, you're not going. If you're going to stay right here with me. Even though she doesn't actually want to be a mother, she's still like, oh, if I'm not going to be happy, then you're not going to be happy. And that's basically the relationship between the two of them. Only This Beautiful Moment. This book, I've talked about this multiple times this year, I believe as well. This tells the story of three different people in the same family. We have, in 2019, we have Mood. He's an out gay teen living in Los Angeles with his distant father, Saeed. And then in 1978, That's the time period that we focus on the father, Saeed. He's an engineering student with a promising future ahead of him in Tehran. But when his parents discover his involvement in the country's burgeoning revolution, they send him to safety in America, a country Saeed despises. And even worse, he's forced to live with the American grandmother he never knew existed. 1939, the parents of Saeed, well, the dad of Saeed, Bobby, he is the son of a calculating Hollywood stage mother, and she lands him a coveted MGM studio contract. But the fairy tale world of glamour he's thrust into has a dark side. And through time, we see each of these people come of age and eventually become fathers, or at least not Mood, but the other two become a father and then a grandfather. And it tells the story of their connection together and how each of them view the world and how each of them have had a bit more privilege than the other in their own way. And I thought it was a beautiful story about, fathers and sons, family, the difference in cultures in each country, and an amazing read. I will say my favorite part of the story was probably Bobby's in 1939, which surprises me because most time in books that have multiple timelines, I'm always mostly fond of the present day storyline. But this one, I didn't really care for Mood. Mood was souring my mood, okay? To be honest, Mood pissed me off. Like, I don't know what it is. Maybe it was because it was too current, and I was really enjoying like the 1978 and 1939 like past storylines and getting the history and all that backstory versus the 2019 version. I was just like, boy, shut up. Go pick your phone up and sit down somewhere, please. Isaac Song, that is another book that I've mentioned, and all of these have been mentioned in a previous video. Duh, if they're the top 15 of 2024, it doesn't. But Isaac Song is a book that is not a 2024 release. I got an ARC, and that is going to be released on the same day as Good Dirt, I believe, January 28th, 2025. That is by Daniel Black, who also wrote Don't Cry For Me, which is a book that I love and I have not shut up about. But Isaac Song tells the story from Isaac's point of view, where in Don't Cry For Me, we get his dad's point of view. He's writing letters to Isaac because he's about to die and he's apologizing for all the things that he did wrong. And in Isaac's Song, it goes from him being a young child to his teenage years, to his adulthood. He's now in therapy, talking to a therapist, telling her all the things that went wrong and how his dad treated him has still greatly affected him. And he's dealing with, he has internalized homophobia, just overall insecurities and self-hatred and just everything that went wrong in his life. He blames it on his dad because it's like, if he hadn't been such a horrible father, then maybe I'd be a better person. But he gets to now pull back the layers and see that maybe his dad was not as bad as he thought he was. He had good intentions, just his method was bad, which doesn't excuse the dad anyway, because the daddy still needed some motherfucking work, okay? Like, that was an emotionally stunted man who was physically and verbally abusive and needed to get his shit together, okay? So overall, I really, really enjoyed Isaac's Song. It was such a great read. It gripped me from beginning to end, and I'm not putting these in any specific order, but if I were to, that's number one. It's top 3 and it ain't 3 or 2. I'm sorry. Like, Isaac's Song really did. It made this whole shitty year worth it, if I must say so. Okay, it really did. Like, what a book. What a book. Like, I feel like every reader has, that book or multiple books where they go, you know what, this is why I read. This is what, not to sound corny or cliche, but it's just like, bitch, that's why I pick up a motherfucking book. Because that's the kind of story that I need to be told. Okay? That's the kind of stories the world deserves. I deserve. Maybe I deserve. This Motherless Land. This Motherless Land by Nikki May. This is a book that I actually have not heard a lot of people talk about. And I'm not saying no one is talking about it. It's just that the people that I watch, or like me scrolling online, I haven't seen a lot of people. Two extraordinary cousins are set on vastly different paths as they come to terms with their shared family history. A masterful exploration of race, identity, and love. We have Funke. She's hot. She's happy in Nigeria. She loves her art teacher mother, her professor father, and even her annoying little brother most of the time. But when tragedy strikes, she has to move to England, a place she knows only from her mother's stories. To her dismay, she finds that the much lauded estate is dilapidated, the food is tasteless, the weather is gray, and worse still, her mother's family, they're cold and they're distant and they don't really like welcome her, except for her cousin Liv. And they, a close bond grows between the two of them. But Liv's mom, Funke's aunt, is a horrible woman. She's horrible, stupid, ignorant woman. And she's very selfish and she mistreats Funke. And so when another tragedy strikes, the two cousins, there's a rift between the two of them. And so that's when their lives are truly set in different directions. And over time, we learn the ins and outs of their relationship, the ups and downs of their lives separately and together. And I thought it was a beautiful story. I really, really enjoyed this a lot more than I thought I was. And so, because, I say it all the time, you pick up a book, you expect to like it, but then sometimes, you're just like, oh, okay, I didn't know we was gonna be doing all that. I didn't know we had that in store. So that's one that I really did enjoy, and I would recommend that. That's one that I would highly recommend to people. Good material. Now. It's some people that I watch, they do not like this book. It's so funny to me that, we all like different things, and that's just the nature of life, and it's no different when it comes to books. But it's so funny how people that I love their content, we can have completely different taste in books. Every book they bring up, and they're like, oh, I love this, I loved it, da 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 da, for this reason and another, yada yada yada. And I'm like, girl, please put that down. Put your shoes on, baby. Let's go find you a home, because that is not it. And then they'll pick up a book and say they absolutely hated it, and I'm like, hold up, sister. Hold on. What's going on? Because that was amazing. That ate to me. Andy loves Jen. Jen loved Andy. And he can't work out why she stopped. Now he is without a home. He's waiting for his stand-up career to take off. And he's wondering why everyone else around him seems to have grown up while he wasn't looking. So his girlfriend breaks up with him because she's very type A and she likes barter. She has a successful career and she wants children, she wants a solid marriage, and she wants everything to be, in place, as most people do, like in life. I'm not saying everything has to be perfect, but she just wants him to get up and get his shit together. But he has dreams of becoming a comedian, and the artist's life, no matter what it is, whether it's singer, comedian, writer, performer, whatever, it can be topsy-turvy because the world loves art, but they seem to hate artists. They seem to believe artists shouldn't be paid well. They seem to believe it's not a viable career, even though they love the things that the artists produce. Will forever be a wonder to me. But once she breaks up with him, his life, we're in a tailspin. He's dating younger women, stereotypical. All his friends have now, they've entered marriages and they're having children. They're not, always at the ready to just go and hang out. So he's just kind of lonely and he's just wandering around trying to get his shit together. And I really enjoyed this. This is another one where I listened to the audio version and I think they may have done it. I think the audio version may have been the reason why I enjoyed this more than others, or at least the people that I watch. And so we're following along with him as he just, he's just trying to get his shit together. So, I enjoyed it. It was good material to me. Grown Women. This is another one that I've talked about a million times, so I won't talk your ear off about it, but just know it was amazing, top tier. If I was to do a top 3, this would be top 3, right up there with Isaac Song. This is about 4 generations in the same family, all women, and how, each of them experience each other differently. The Haters is a book that, for majority of that book, we are stuck in this main character's head and while she goes batshit crazy. Because she's just published her first novel and she gets an email from someone saying, hey, you're a high school counselor, and your book, I feel like you took the real life problems of your students, put them in your book to make money off of them, and I'm about to expose your ass. And from there, she loses it, and she starts getting more emails, and she is just skeptical of everyone around her. She's like, was it the husband? Was it the ex-husband? Was it the boyfriend? Was it my child? Was it my best friend? Who is doing these things to me? Somebody is trying to ruin her life, and she is going absolutely batshit crazy. And I enjoyed that book. I felt like that's a book where, you know how you read it and you're like, oh, this was cool. I enjoyed this. But I feel like if I had read this at a different time, I would not have liked it. That's what that was. And there's a part in the book where she goes, who do I think I am? Jodi Picoult? And I quote that all the time now. I'll just be, who do I think I am? Jodi Picoult? If you read it, it's funny. In the book, just me saying it right there, it may not be funny. But trust me, it was. It was. I laughed. The One, You're the One for Me. The One by John Mars. That book, yeah, The One. That one is The One. The One is about a group of people. We follow multiple people in this novel, and basically you take a DNA test to find your true match. Now, your true match could be the person that you're currently with. It could be somebody on the other side of the world. It could be your next door neighbor. You never know. So we're following all these people as they struggle with, do they take the test? Do they not? Have they taken the test and now we have to deal with the results? What's happening? Is this ethical? Like, what's happening here? Can a test really tell you who the true love of your life is? We have people who are in committed relationships, and maybe one person takes it and the other one doesn't, and they find out, oh, it said the person that I spent the last 5 years with is not my soulmate. So do I stay with them? Do I leave? Do I go? And like, what happens? What happens? Okay, so that's all you need to know about that book. That's all you need to know, and I loved it. Top tier. Canto Contigo by Johnny Garza Villa. Two high school students on opposing mariachi bands have to come together and work on the same team because one of them transfers, and they have to try to win the national competition, even though they really don't like each other. They butt heads, but then there's a little cute little love story starts developing between the two of them, and I really enjoyed this. And I learned a lot about like mariachi bands and like the competitions and all of that. And I thought this was a cute, fun story. And yeah, I enjoyed it. Lost Man's Lane. This is our final, but I find that we've reached the final countdown. Lost Man's Lane. This is the final book, my top 15 of 2024. This is another book that I feel like was longer than it needed to be. This book is like 500 something pages. Yeah. 516 pages. 516 pages. And it did not need to be, but I still enjoyed it. This tells a story of Marshall Miller, who would have remembered her face even if he hadn't seen it on a missing poster. But when a young woman goes missing in his small town, the investigation hinges on Marshall's hunting sight of her crying in the backseat of a police car driven by a cop named Maddox. There's only one problem. There's uno problem. No local cop by the name of Maddox exists, but the speeding ticket he handed to Marshall certainly does. So it's like, did he see this man? Did he hallucinate? Where did this motherfucking ticket come from? He holding the ticket real, but the cop ain't real? What's going on? What's happening? And so, we have a mystery. We also have paranormal activity going on. I feel like if this had been straight thriller, no paranormal activity going on, I would have loved this even more. But what I will say is that the writing in this, when the author started writing about real shit and we got really emotional, I was hooked. I will say that the writing in this, I appreciate it. Okay? I'm really unappreciated. I loved it. So there were parts of this where I feel like it drug on and it wasn't. I was like, okay, let's just get to the bottom of it, okay? Can we just skip all the hoopla and let's get down to the nitty motherfucking gritty, okay? But needless to say, it's on my top 15, so I did enjoy it, and yeah, I would recommend it. And that's it. Those are Desmond Z's top 15 books of 2024. And I said it wasn't hard, but it kind of was, because there are some that I feel like, oh, I should have put these on there. But it's done now. It's done now, because I ain't re-recording this. It's over. It's over and done. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Give it a thumbs up if you did. Let me know what were your top 3 books of the year down below in the comments. Have you read any of mine, in the top 15? Do you disagree? Respectfully. Let's keep it respectful. Okay. And yeah, that's it. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you in my next one in 2025. Bye.